The mockery. The message arrived on a cold October morning. After centuries of searching the stars, humanity had finally received an answer. Dr. Eleanor Shaw stood in the control room of the Mauna Kea Observatory, her eyes locked on the monitor as the pattern repeated. A sequence of prime numbers followed by what appeared to be mathematical constants. There was no mistaking it. This was not random cosmic noise. "Get the director," she whispered to her assistant without taking her eyes off the screen. Now, within 48 hours, observatories across the globe confirmed the signal. Within a week, world leaders gathered at the United Nations to draft a response. 3 months later, the skies over Geneva parted as a gleaming vessel descended through the clouds, its surface reflecting the sunlight in prismatic patterns that no human material could replicate. First Contact Day became a global holiday. The visitors called themselves the Varlian Alliance, a coalition of 11 advanced species who claimed to have been monitoring Earth for centuries. They came bearing gifts: medical technologies that promised to cure diseases, energy systems that could power cities without pollution, and the invitation to join a vast interstellar community. "Your species shows remarkable adaptability," announced Ambassador Zoltar, the tall, slender representative of the Alliance whose translucent skin seemed to pulse with bioluminescent patterns. "We welcome humanity to take its first steps into the greater galactic family." Commander Alexis Reeves of the newly formed United Earth Defense Force watched from the sidelines, her hand never far from her sidearm. 15 years of military service had taught her to search for what wasn't being said. "They're hiding something," she told Dr. Marcus Chen, the xenolinguist who had helped decode the alien language. "Nobody crosses 30 light-years just to be neighborly." Marcus adjusted his glasses. "Maybe advanced civilizations evolve beyond conflict. Think of what we can learn from them." 6 months of cultural exchange followed. The aliens shared carefully selected technologies and invited a delegation of 20 humans to visit the Alliance's central world, an artificial habitat orbiting a binary star system called Varlian Prime. The journey took 3 weeks aboard the alien vessel. Commander Reeves spent most of it studying their hosts, noting the subtle ways they sometimes spoke among themselves with translation devices conveniently malfunctioning. Once, she caught 2 Varlian officers watching footage of Earth's refugee camps and making gestures that resembled amusement. "Something's wrong," she whispered to Marcus on the final night of their journey. "I've managed to access some of their communication logs. They keep referring to us as specimens and exhibits." Marcus frowned. "Are you certain? The translation could be." "I'm certain," Reeves cut him off. "We're not being brought as equals. We're being brought as entertainment." The truth revealed itself the moment their ship docked at the massive space station orbiting Varlian Prime. As the human delegation stepped onto the arrival platform, floating devices surrounded them, projecting their images to thousands of alien spectators who pointed and made sounds that needed no translation. They were laughing. "Welcome to the Galactic exhibition," announced a booming voice as the humans were herded into a massive amphitheater. "Today's special presentation: Earth, the curious development of a pre-ascension species." On enormous screens surrounding the chamber, images of Earth's wars, pollution, and political conflicts played on repeat. When Marcus attempted to speak, his translation device transformed his words into simplified language, eliciting more laughter from the gathered aliens. "As you can see," continued the announcer, "despite their primitive space travel capabilities, the humans remain trapped in cycles of tribal conflict and environmental mismanagement. The Central Classification Committee has designated Earth as a Category C developmental curiosity." Commander Reeves' hands balled into fists. "What does that mean?" A smaller alien with ridged skin approached, speaking in halting but clear English without a translator. "It means quarantine," she whispered, clearly uncomfortable with the proceedings. "No independent space travel, no advanced technology transfer. Your planet becomes a nature preserve and research site." "They can't do this," Marcus said, his academic dignity crumbling. "We have rights." Developmental curiosities do not have self-determination rights under Alliance law, the alien explained. I am Nix of the Tethleri. My people were classified Category B 2 centuries ago. We are still fighting for recognition. Before they could learn more, guards separated Reeves and Marcus from the rest of the human delegation, while the others were returned to Earth to deliver the news of humanity's humiliating status. Reeves and Marcus were taken to a different facility marked Xenological Research Center. The Science Division wishes to conduct extended studies on human cognitive and physical capabilities, explained their escort as they were placed in a sterile white room with observation windows. Through those windows, they could see other containment units holding beings from different species. Some appeared resigned, others angry, but all shared the same defeated posture. 76, said a voice from an adjoining cell. A reptilian being with crystalline growths protruding from its skull spoke through a small vent. 76 emerging civilizations have been classified and restricted in the past millennium. The Alliance maintains power by ensuring no new species can develop to challenge them. On Earth, the return of the remainder of the delegation brought crushing news. Humanity had been deemed unworthy of joining the galactic community as equals. Instead, observation posts appeared in orbit. Tourist ships began landing in designated zones, filled with alien visitors who took pictures of humans going about their daily lives as if on safari. When the Chinese military attempted to shoot down an observation satellite, the response was immediate. Energy shields deployed around all alien structures, effortlessly deflecting missiles. Fighter jets were disabled mid-flight and returned to Earth in floating containment fields that deposited the unharmed but humiliated pilots on the Great Wall of China. The message was clear. Resistance was not just futile. It was amusing to their galactic overseers. News channels showed aliens walking through cities, pointing at skyscrapers as if they were quaint villages. Some gave treats to children like tourists feeding pigeons. Others collected souvenirs, everyday items like smartphones or books that they took as exotic curiosities. Admiral James Zhao watched the footage from the Pentagon's war room, his face a mask of controlled fury. We need options, he told his assembled staff. I refuse to accept that humanity's destiny is to become a zoo exhibit. Conventional weapons are useless against their technology, said Colonel Maya Patil of Intelligence Division. But there might be another approach. She slid a tablet across the table. On the screen was a security camera image showing an alien tourist dropping what appeared to be a damaged device into a trash can before boarding their shuttle. They're careless, Colonel Patil continued. They discard broken technology like litter, never considering we might study it. I've established Project Defiance, a covert operation to collect, analyze, and reverse engineer anything they leave behind. Admiral Zhao nodded slowly. Keep it completely off the grid. No digital records, nothing that could be detected by their observation posts. Meanwhile, in their cell on Varlian Prime, Commander Reeves and Dr. Chen were planning. The reptilian being, who called himself Krell, had smuggled them a small communication device through the ventilation system. Not all species agree with the Alliance's hierarchical structure, Krell explained. There's a resistance network, the Liberation Collective. Species like mine who were classified, but managed to steal or develop technology in secret. Reeves' military training kicked in. We need to get back to Earth, warn them, help them prepare. Impossible, said Krell. The quarantine is absolute. No unauthorized ships can approach Earth without triggering defense systems. Marcus, who had been quiet for hours, suddenly looked up. What if we don't need to go back? What if we can send information instead? He pointed to the small communication device. Could this be modified to transmit data packets that would bypass their detection systems? Krell's scaled face formed what might have been a smile. Clever human. The collective has developed exactly such technology. But what would you send? Krell asked. Reeves' expression hardened with determination. Everything. Their technology, their weaknesses, and most importantly, the truth about what they've done to other species. Earth needs to know they're not alone in this fight. As the aliens continued their tourist visits to Earth, taking pictures and laughing at primitive humans, they failed to notice that something fundamental had changed. Behind the facades of normalcy, in abandoned mines and underground facilities, humanity began its longest con, playing the role of the defeated species while secretly preparing for the day they would show the galaxy exactly what humans were capable of when underestimated. Project Defiance had begun. The reckoning. 10 years passed. On the surface, Earth remained a compliant, if somewhat dreary, tourist destination for bored aliens seeking exotic experiences. Below the surface, Project Defiance had evolved into something much larger, a global conspiracy of resistance. In an abandoned salt mine beneath the Norwegian permafrost, Dr. Sofia Ivanov examined the strange device floating above her workbench. "Remarkable," she said. "Their power systems operate on principles we never considered. No wonder conventional physics couldn't explain how their ships moved." Beside her, Admiral Zhao, now considerably grayer, nodded with satisfaction. "Can we replicate it?" Sophia smiled. "We already have. The prototype generator is powering this entire facility, and the best part, it's completely undetectable to their scanning technology." Across the planet, similar breakthroughs were happening in hidden facilities. Communication networks that piggybacked on alien signals, materials stronger than anything Earth had previously developed, and most crucially, weapon systems designed to penetrate the seemingly impervious shields that had rendered human militaries impotent. On Varlian Prime, Commander Reeves and Dr. Chen had become vital nodes in the Liberation Collective's network. With Krell's help, they had escaped their containment cells and now moved through the station disguised as maintenance workers for one of the lesser Alliance species. The annual Earth status review was scheduled for next month. Krell informed them as they gathered in a maintenance tunnel. "The Science Division will recommend continuing the quarantine indefinitely. They've determined humans are exceptionally entertaining specimens with minimal developmental potential." Reeves' jaw tightened. They have no idea what's coming. Marcus checked the small device hidden in his sleeve, a quantum transmitter that sent compressed data packets to Earth through subspace channels the Alliance couldn't detect. Project Defiance has confirmed receipt of the shield modulation frequencies. They're ready to move to Phase 1. On Earth, inside a hollowed-out mountain in New Zealand that didn't appear on any official maps, the first human-built starship prepared for its maiden voyage. Constructed with reverse-engineered technology and powered by systems the aliens had carelessly discarded, the vessel, named Ghost, represented humanity's secret response to a decade of humiliation. Captain Leila Takahashi ran her hand along the ship's sleek hull. "They expect us to be grateful for their scraps," she said to her assembled crew. "They expect us to remain their pets and entertainment for centuries. Let's show them how wrong they are." As observation satellites passed overhead, completely unaware of what was happening below, humanity prepared to teach the galaxy a lesson about underestimating the species they had laughed at for so long. Operation Shadowfall began with a single target, a small observation post orbiting Jupiter's moon Europa. The Ghost emerged from Earth's atmosphere under cover of a violent thunderstorm, its advanced stealth systems rendering it invisible to Alliance sensors. By the time the observation post detected the approaching vessel, it was too late. Captain Takahashi's voice was calm as she gave the order, "Weapons free." The Ghost's energy beams, built using technology recovered from alien garbage, sliced through the observation post's shields as if they were paper. Within minutes, the post was disabled, its crew taken alive and its communication systems neutralized before they could send a distress signal. When Alliance Central Command lost contact with the Europa post, they dispatched a routine maintenance vessel to investigate. That ship met the same fate. For 3 months, humanity's hidden fleet grew bolder, striking isolated Alliance facilities throughout the solar system while maintaining Earth's facade of compliance. Each captured facility yielded more technology, more intelligence, and most importantly, more allies, representatives of other classified species who had been stationed at these outposts and who eagerly joined the resistance. On Varlian Prime, the Alliance Security Council convened an emergency session. "We've lost contact with 27 facilities in the Sol system," reported the security chief, a tall Varlian with anxiety pulsing bioluminescence. "Initial reports suggest coordinated attacks, but that's impossible. The humans lack both the technology and the organizational capability." Ambassador Zoltar, who had first greeted humanity a decade earlier, looked troubled. Could another species be involved? Perhaps the Arcturians or the Mizari. "Unlikely," said the science director. "Our surveillance of Earth shows no unusual activity. The humans continue their primitive existence, seemingly accepting of their classification." In the shadows of the council chamber, Commander Reeves, disguised as a service drone, recorded everything. The Liberation Collective's network had grown considerably, now encompassing representatives from over 30 classified species. What had begun as information sharing had evolved into a full-scale resistance movement, with Earth as its unexpected center. The final phase of Operation Shadowfall began exactly 10 years to the day after Earth had been classified as a developmental curiosity. The Ghost Fleet, now numbering 100 vessels, emerged from hidden bases across the solar system. Simultaneously, resistance cells on dozens of classified worlds launched coordinated attacks on Alliance facilities. Admiral Zhao addressed the fleet from the bridge of the flagship Defiance. "For 10 years, we've played the part they assigned us. Primitive curiosities, entertaining exhibits for their amusement. Today, we show them what humanity is truly capable of. Today, we not only fight for our freedom, but for the freedom of all species subjected to the Alliance's tyranny." The Defiance led the assault on Varlian Prime itself. As the human fleet appeared in orbit around the artificial habitat, panic erupted among the Alliance leadership. Their defense systems, designed to prevent rebellions by individual classified species, were overwhelmed by weapons based on their own technology. Commander Reeves seized the moment. Together with Krell and representatives from other classified species, she stormed the Central Classification Committee's chambers. The Alliance High Commissioner, surrounded by his guards, looked on in shock as humans entered the sacred chambers where the fate of species was decided. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "Your species lacks the cognitive capacity for such coordination." Reeves smiled coldly. "You made a fundamental error in your assessment of humanity, Commissioner. You saw our conflicts and called us primitive. You saw our diversity and called it weakness. But you failed to understand that both are sources of our greatest strength, our adaptability." She gestured to the diverse coalition of beings that stood with her. "And we're not alone. Every species you've classified and condescended to has joined us. Your empire of mockery ends today." As Alliance defense systems fell to the coordinated attack, and as classified species across the galaxy rose up against their overseers, the truth became inescapable. The era of the Varlian Alliance was over. 1 month later, representatives from all species, formerly classified and Alliance members alike, gathered in the repurposed Central Chamber on Varlian Prime. The Galactic Concord was formed, a new interstellar body founded on principles of self-determination and mutual respect. Dr. Marcus Chen, now serving as Earth's chief diplomatic officer, addressed the assembly. The mistake the Alliance made was believing that advancement is measured solely by technological achievement. They failed to see that true civilization is measured by how we treat others, by our capacity for empathy, and by our willingness to stand up not just for ourselves, but for all who face injustice. Commander Reeves, standing beside him, added, "Humanity doesn't seek dominion over the stars. We seek partnership. But let our story be a reminder. Never mistake patience for weakness, adaptation for submission, or humanity for anything less than what we are." As the assembly erupted in applause, news spreads across the galaxy. The species that had once been laughed at, the developmental curiosity kept as an exhibition, had not only freed itself, but had led a coalition that transformed the very structure of galactic society. The universe would never underestimate humanity again.